Our agenda is VHDL modeling of Moore machine on paper and in Xilinx ISE. Second is bit string literals, abbreviated as BSL in VHDL. And third is attributes in VHDL. So in the last session on Friday, we already discussed about this particular state machine, and we also learned how to read this state machine. So it is clear from the state diagram that this machine has three states which are named as A, B and C. So A, B and C are the state names, and depending upon what input is received by the state machine while remaining in a particular state, it will change the state or remain in the same state, and there is a reset signal. So we told that we can read the state machine as like this, that if the system receives a reset, then in whichever state it is, it will come to state A. While in state A, if it receives input W equal to 1, it goes to state B. If it receives input equal to 0, it remains in the same state. Then if it is in the state B, if it receives input W equal to 1, it goes to state C. And if it receives input W equal to 0, it goes to state A. If it is in state C and if it receives input W equal to 1, it remains in the same state, and if it receives input W equal to 0, goes to state A. And in all these three states, when the machine is in state C, only then it produces an output Z equal to 1. And we read from this state diagram clearly that this system is having the input W, having a reset RST, and as we told that because it is a state machine, it is a sequential system, and it must have a clock. So although clock is not shown in the state diagram, but it is assumed. So we have assumed by ourselves that this is the state diagram of the state machine. The entity name is state underscore MC. Reset has been assumed as active low. There is an input W, and clock is also assumed to be positive as triggered. And we have also defined the power hierarchy as reset RST being most powerful, followed by CLK, followed by W. So now what we will do is that we will very quickly write the entire VHDL model by hand, so we don't lose the practice of writing VHDL models with hand. Okay, this is how we start. Library IEEE, use IEEE dot standard underscore logic underscore 1164.all. And we also have a habit of writing two more statements, IEEE dot standard answer standard underscore logic underscore unsigned dot all, and fourth is use IEEE dot numeric underscore std dot all. These library statements, and then we will go on to write the entity declaration, which has three signals RST, W and CLK. So entity space entity name, so it is state underscore MC. Entity space entity name is port opening parenthesis, and we will follow the power hierarchy that is RST comma CLK comma W. So all three input signals are mentioned in the same line separated by commas, and our system is having only one output Z. So we'll write down Z colon out standard underscore logic, and it being the last signal, we are not going to put a semicolon. End state underscore MC. Okay, so entity declaration is over. Now, as we told, according to power hierarchy, RST CLKW. So as we told that most digital systems have asynchronous reset facility. So reset is to be checked first, and if it comes as 0, then our machines should attain the state A. Otherwise, if reset doesn't come, that is if reset comes as 1, then we should check for the arrival of positive edge of the clock. If the positive edge of the clock arrives, then we will ask a question, what kind of state is my machine in? If it is in state A, then depending upon whether input is 1 or 0, we are going to change states as per the state diagram. This is what is a verbal explanation of the architecture body of our VHDL model. Now there is one thing which we are going to learn new is this thing. Now as I told you that our state machine has the states which are named as A, B and C. So we know that in VHDL language, basically it is a language for modeling digital systems. That is why there is nothing called as A, B and C, because when we say digital systems, then primarily any signal in the language can assume only two states, 1 and 0, or else it can assume a high impedance state Z, or else if you want to go by the 9 valued logic, then a particular signal output can attain one of the 9 values, that is strong 1, weak 1, strong 0, weak 0, strong unknown, weak unknown, high impedance, uninitialized and don't care, right? But we are not going to care about the remaining 7, but at least 1, 0 and Z can be emphasized upon. So here, since the state machine has 3 states and the state diagram tells that the names of the states are A, B and C, there has to be provision provided to the VHDL programmer that it defines the values A, B and C. So there is something called as enumerated data type in VHDL. Okay, so if we want to use values which are not predefined in VHDL, we can use enumerated data types. Okay, so what is the syntax for enumerated data type? It is this. So the keyword type data type name is value 1, comma value 2, comma, value 3, so on, semicolon. Okay, so the syntax for using a user defined data type is the keyword type followed by data type name is and the set of values. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that we will define a new data type called as state underscore name. Okay. So state underscore name is the new data type which is not available in VHDL, and this particular new data type has values, can have three possible values: A, comma, B, comma, C. Okay, so our state machine goes through these three states and the names given to the states are A, B and C, and because A, B and C are not available ready-made in the language, that is why this is our way out, that we define one new data type whose name is state underscore name, and the set of values which this particular data type can have is A, B and C. Okay, so this is how we do it. So what I do is I write the syntax. Type, instead of data type name I will write down type state name is, and this particular data type can have only three values: A, comma, B, comma, C, semicolon. Okay, so type data type name is the value set semicolon. So I have defined one new data type named state underscore name, and this data type can have three values A, B and C, and I express this particular creation in this way: type state underscore name is A, comma, B, comma, C. Now please understand one thing, that we cannot write it here, it is just an example. So I will encircle this, telling that this is just an illustration. Okay, so this is just an illustration, this is not a part of the program, but we are going to write this and as a part of our program. So now we start with the architecture body. So architecture name. So our architecture name is entity name underscore arch of entity name is, and this new data type has to be created in the declaration section. So between architecture's first line and architecture begins. So here I'll write down type state underscore name is bracket A, comma, B, comma, C. Okay. Now one more new thing which we have to learn is this thing, that once we have created a new data type, then we can define signals belonging to this data type. Okay. So once new data type has been created, one can define signals belonging to the new data type. Okay, so this is part 1, this is part 2. Okay, so we already done this thing here. Now we'll define signals. Okay, so now using the syntax for signal declaration, signal space signal name colon data type, I will write signal space signal name. So now I'll define a signal called as state. Okay, colon data type is state underscore name. Okay, so I can write down here creation of new data type, and here defining signals of new data type. Okay, so now we are done. Now the thing is very simple. Now we have to check RST first, then clock, and then W, and then we are going to use case statements for this. Case statements. Okay, it's very simple. Process clause. So process sensitivity list RST comma CLK comma W begin. Okay, now if RST equal to single tick 0, then I will say state is assigned A. According to state diagram, if reset comes, the machine should enter into state A, which has been defined. So I will say if RST equal to 0, then state is assigned A. Now because A has been defined as one of the values of the new data type state underscore name, and state is a signal which is belonging to data type state underscore name, that is why A now becomes acceptable, otherwise not. If reset equal to 0, then state is assigned A. Now else if, because it is positive as triggered, else if rising underscore edge of clock, then. Okay, now we have entered into a situation where reset is equal to 1 and clock edge has arrived. Okay, so now at this particular statement we have reached a situation where reset is false, that is reset equal to 1 and rising edge of the clock has arrived. Okay, so now I will write down case state is when A then. Okay, so case state is when A, case state is when A then W equal to 1 go to B. So I will say when A then if input equal to single tick 1, then state gets B, else state gets A, and if. Okay, my first state is covered. So if input equal to 1, go to state B. If the input equal to 1, go to state B, else remain in state A. Second is case when B, same thing I will repeat here. When B, this is written as equal to greater than but read as then. If input equal to 1, then. So when the machine is in state B and if it reaches W equal to 1, it goes to C, otherwise goes to A. Then state is assigned C, else state gets A, and if. Similarly, I'll write down when C, then. State diagram we see machine is in state C, if 1 then C, else A. If W equal to 1, then state gets C, else state gets A, and if. Okay, so state C is discussed, state B is discussed, state A is discussed under case statement. Now we will say end case, end if, end process. Now we will say, we'll close the case statement, end case, then we will close the if statement, end if, and I will say end process. Okay, now end architecture is there, but before that we have to do something. So I will say end architecture, end, right? Now all these statements we have defined the behavior, but we have not mentioned about the output. So we see here that the output of the state machine Z becomes 1 only when the machine enters into state C. So we can directly write down. So we have nowhere mentioned about the output. So we will write one statement here. We'll write down Z is assigned 1 when machine is in state C, else 0. Okay, this is a very different kind of a statement. We are seeing from state diagram that the output of the state machine Z attains a value 1 only when the machine enters into state C, and when it is in states A and B, the output Z is equal to 0 as seen in the states. So I have written this particular statement as Z is assigned 1 when state equal to C, else 0. This is our complete VHDL model for this thing, and without wasting time we will directly go to the tool. Okay, so I will just say tool is opened already. So I will say file, new project, and I will say state underscore MC, control A, control C. Next, all is set. Next, I say finish. Okay, go to design window, implementation mode, target line, right click, new source, module, control C. Next, change the architecture name to entity name underscore ARCH. First input reset, second input clock, third input W, output Z, defined as out. Next, finish. Okay, load. Library statements are written, additional comments are deleted, entity declaration is done. We'll just say type state name is okay. So the new data type is defined. A signal belong to data type is also defined. Okay, go here. ABA, BCA, ABA, BCA, and CCA. CCA, correct. So we are done now. Okay. Yeah. So we made a mistake here. Basic mistake was there. So semicolon. We had written it correctly here. When state equal to C. So I think so it's through now.
Sir, it should be assigned. State
Yeah.
is assigned C.
No, actually, because it is when else na, so we cannot use semicolon here. Okay. So this should be fine now. Let us see. Yeah, we are through. So now let us see what is the scheme. What are the schematics which are generated? So this is our state machine, CLK RSW inputs, Z is output. Let us go inside and see here. Go inside, see here, okay? Go inside, see here, okay? This is the RTL schematic we are seeing here. If in second year, if this particular state diagram was given to us, and if you would have solved using the standard techniques for designing state machines, then we would have got the same schematic probably. We see here that there is one and two input AND gate which is connecting two D flip-flops. As I told you before, whenever the RTL schematic shows something like this, you have to read it like this: F for flop, D for D flip-flop, and C for clear. So it is a D flip-flop with clear because we have used RST signal, so it is like that. Okay, and if you go inside, double click, nothing is coming. This indicates that D flip-flops have been inferred. Let us go and see what is in the technology schematic inside, and no difference is there. Only difference is this thing, that the two input AND gate in RTL schematic has been replaced with a two input LUT block which is having the same functionality. Go inside, it is an AND gate. Okay, so D flip-flops are available as programmable logic within the architecture of FPGA. This was all about the synthesis. Now we will not spend time in simulation. I leave it to the student to write a test bench. That is, go to simulation, go to target line, right click, new source, VSGL test bench, and you can select this particular name, paste it here, underscore TB, reselect, and say next, next, and say finish. After having this, you can go to this thing, delete, delete, And don't delete the clock statement. It is offering you a clock with time period 10 nanoseconds. You must keep this intact. You should also keep this intact. And then here you can write two processes. The first can be for reset, and you can use our logic for how many clock cycles you want to keep it. And after writing the process for reset, you can also write another process for input W. Okay, so in test bench model, you should have one process for each input. So the three inputs are RST, clock, and input W. So this is the process for clock. This RST process you are going to write, and you can also write one more process called W. Okay, and in this way you can dock it, and you can expand this, select the test bench model, go to process window, do a check syntax, and you can go and simulate. Now you are not going to get any behavior because I have not defined the timing specifications of the reset signal and input W, but we will surely get some waveforms. Okay, so we didn't get anything because nothing has been defined now. Okay. Okay. So our first agenda for the day is over. So we have covered this. So we'll do the second topic, bit string literals in VSDL. Okay, let us begin with examples. Okay, let us go back to a second year and say this. Okay, fine. So assume that we have a 16-bit counter. So it is negative edge triggered. It has reset. It has preset, and output is Q, and it is 16 bits. Okay, so this is the block diagram of a negative edge triggered 16-bit counter with maybe synchronous or asynchronous reset and preset. Now if I want to tell that show counter output is how many bits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If suppose in a program we have to write down that output is like this, then what would we write? We will write in the VSGL model. So we will write Q temp, right? Because we are not going to touch Q directly. We will write down Q temp is assigned 1 0 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 0 0 1 0. Very laborious, right? So VSDL provides what is called as bit string literals, which help us to cut down a particular bit stream into short. So can you tell me that this bit stream, can it be represented with lesser number of elements?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, just a minute. Okay. So now you tell me, this is in which number system? Can you tell me? The output of counter is
Binary,
in which?
sir.
Binary, right? So it is in binary number system. Okay. So it is radix equal to 2. Now, how many ways do you think of cutting down this thing. Okay, shorter representation. Yeah, tell me how we can represent this 16 bits.
So in hexadecimal, octal.
Octal. So the one way is octal. Okay, another way is hexadecimal. Okay, so who can tell what is the hexadecimal equivalent of this 16-bit stream? So we start like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is equal to 2, 9, 2 and 1, 0, 1, 1. It is what? It is 11. So it is B. Okay. So we know that this particular counter's output, it is equal to B292 hexadecimal. Okay. So there are specific alphabets which are used. Okay. Now if I want to represent the same thing in octal, so I can say it is B292, B292, and in octal, how to do octal? So I'll use another color. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put 2 zeros. Okay. So 2, 2, 2, 1, 3, 1. So in octal number system, my string is 1, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2. Okay. So first, X is used for indicating hexadecimal number system. O is for indicating octal number system, and the alphabet B representing binary. It is default. So if you do not use the literal binary, the little b, it is understood. Now the question comes that okay, X is for hexadecimal, O is for octal and B is for binary. How to use it? So how do I represent this particular thing? So if I write down like this, Q temp is assigned. So we had B. So 1, 0, 1, 1. It was B292, right? So B292. So B292. Okay. So I can write down instead. See carefully. Q temp is assigned X, and you can say double quotes B292. Okay, another way of writing it. So this is how you use the bit string literal. That is, whatever is the hexadecimal equivalent, you write it in double quotes and preceded by X. If I want to represent the same output of counter in octal number system, I will say capital O and I will say 131 222. I will say 131 222 semicolon. Okay, and this is same as writing Q temp is assigned 1011 0010 1001 0010. Same. So even if you don't write B, but the default bit string literal assumed is this thing. Now, if suppose it is very difficult to read 16 bits, and if you want to have some separation, so this is an error. So if I write down this thing, if suppose I write down Q temp like this, I will say that Q temp is assigned 1011 space 0010 space 1001 space 0010. This is created, this is regarded as an error. This is an error in VHDL. But if you want to write the same thing, there is one more way of writing, because this space is not acceptable in VHDL. Okay. spaces. So what I do is that I write the same thing in a different way. I will say qtemp is assigned bit string literal b. So now 1011 0010 1001 0010. This spaces will be neglected now. Okay. Okay. So hope this thing is clear. How to use bit string literals in VHDL. Okay. It is only for shortening the bits which are there in the output. Okay. Um, Now the third is attributes in VHDL. Any doubts till now in bit string literals? I think so it is crystal clear. So you will be able to appreciate the BSL concept if you actually use it while writing your VHDL models in defining the outputs of counters or the contents of memories, registers. Okay, fine. Who can tell me what is the meaning of the word attributes? What is the meaning of the word attributes? Yes?
Qualities of an object.
Okay. Quality or feature. Okay, fine. Okay. So now if you remember, before some time I had taught you how to detect the edges of the clock. So if I want to detect this particular edge of the clock, this is my clock signal is going from 1 to 0. So I told that there are two ways. One is to write down falling underscore edge bracket CLK, and second was clock tick event and after the event has occurred, the final value of clock is 0 and clock equal to 0, right? So already one of the attributes which are there in the session today has already been used. So this particular word event is actually one of the available attributes of clock. This is called as signal attribute. That is why the syntax for using attributes is this thing. So attributes are of different types. We have array attributes, there are many in fact, but I'm just going to take the important ones. Signal attributes. Okay, so this clock tick event is an example of signal attribute. Okay, as I told you. Okay, so clock tick event which already has been used by us, but because it is verbose and lengthy, that is why we are not using this particular statement to detect the falling edge of the clock. Similarly, rising edge would be clock tick event and clock equal to 1. Okay, so before we delve into this thing, we need to understand that arrays are also different types. Okay, so arrays, there are many different types. Examples are we have, okay, so what we will do is that we will say that we have some array name. Okay, so for suppose there is an array whose name is array underscore name, and there is a signal whose name is signal underscore name. Okay, so signal underscore name is the name of the signal which we are going to use to explain the different attributes, and array underscore name is an arbitrary assumed name of the array which we are going to use. Okay, so we always write down like this: the name of the array underscore name, and I say tick. Okay, so this is called as tick. इसको tick बोलते हैं. Tick. Okay, array underscore name, tick, left, array underscore name, tick, right, array underscore name, tick, high, and the last is array underscore name, tick, low. Similarly, in signal attributes, we have tick, event, active, signal name, tick, last active, and then we have signal name, tick, delayed, and we will write down here nanoseconds. Okay, and then we have signal name, tick, stable. Okay, so we will be taking examples of different kinds of arrays and signals to explain all these 9 kinds of attributes. Okay, so we have ascending arrays, descending arrays, and we have 1D arrays, and we have 2D arrays. Okay. So what are ascending arrays? So if I define a signal, so I will say signal P, standard logic vector, example of an ascending array, and here I can put values x to y. Please understand x should be less than y. Okay. So similarly, if I say signal P, standard underscore logic underscore vector dash down to dash, and if it is x down to y, provided x is greater than y, then it is an example of descending array. Okay. And standard underscore logic underscore vector, either it is x to y, or whether it is standard underscore logic underscore vector x down to y, they create, sir, 1D arrays. Okay, so question may be asked that if I write a particular statement, I will say signal qtemp colon standard underscore logic underscore vector 7 down to 0. What actually happens when this particular statement is actually synthesized by the tool in hardware? So after synthesis, the synthesis of the statement actually makes a register of size 8. So when the statement standard underscore logic underscore vector is actually synthesized 7 down to 0, what happens in the schematic is this thing. Okay, so we have okay, so this is actually 8-bit register, and this is actually called as horizontal spread. So when we say 1D array, like this. Okay, so whenever we use this particular data type, vector data type, standard logic vector 7 down to 0, it actually creates a 8-bit register. Similarly, if I write down okay, just like that. So next time we will discuss how to create 2D arrays in VHDL. Okay, so this particular is like this, and this particular thing is like this. So this is called as m by n. We'll discuss it next time.